Welcome to Site Reliability Engineering Crashcasts. I'm your host, Sheila, and today we're diving into the world of Ansible and its role in infrastructure as code and automation for SRE practices. Joining me as always is our expert, Victor. Hey, Victor, are you ready to automate some infrastructure?
Hey Sheila, absolutely. I'm all geared up to talk about Ansible and how it's revolutionizing the way we manage infrastructure. This is going to be an exciting episode.
Great! Before we jump in, listeners should have a basic understanding of Linux systems, YML syntax, and general DevOps concepts. Now, let's break down what we'll cover today. We'll start with an introduction to Ansible, explore its key features, discuss how it fits into SRE practices, and look at some real-world use cases. But first, let's kick things off with a fun quiz question. Victor, did you know that Ansible has a mascot?
Oh, that's an interesting tidbit. I didn't know Ansible had a mascot. What's the question you have for our listeners about it?
Here's the quiz question for our listeners. What type of animal is Ansible's mascot? Is it A, a robot, B, a spaceship, C, an alien, or D, a programming language? Think about it, and we'll reveal the answer at the end of the episode.
That's a great question, Sheila. It really makes you wonder about the connection between the mascot and Ansible's purpose. I'm curious to see if our listeners can guess it correctly. Now, shall we start by explaining what Ansible is and why it's so important in the world of SRE?
Absolutely, Victor. Let's start with the basics. Can you give us a brief introduction to Ansible and explain why it was created?
Sure thing, Sheila. Ansible is an open-source automation tool that was created in 2012 by Michael DeHaan. It was designed to simplify the process of configuring and managing computers, networks, and applications. The key idea behind Ansible was to create a tool that was simple to use, agentless, and could automate complex IT tasks efficiently.
That's interesting. So, Ansible is agentless. Can you explain what that means and why it's important?
Certainly. Being agentless means that Ansible doesn't require any special software to be installed on the target machines it manages. Instead, it uses existing communication methods like SSH for Linux systems or WinRM for Windows systems to connect and execute commands. This makes Ansible very lightweight and easy to set up, as you don't need to worry about installing and maintaining agents on every machine you want to manage.
I see. So, if I understand correctly, Ansible uses existing communication protocols to manage systems, which makes it easier to implement across an organization. Is that right?
Exactly, Sheila. You've got it. This agentless approach is one of the reasons why Ansible has become so popular in the SRE world. It reduces complexity and potential points of failure.
That makes sense. Now we mentioned that Ansible contributes to infrastructure as code. Can you explain what that means and how Ansible fits into this concept?
Great question. Infrastructure as code, or IAC, is the practice of managing and provisioning computing infrastructure through machine-readable definition files rather than physical hardware configuration or interactive configuration tools. Ansible contributes to this by allowing you to describe your entire infrastructure using YML files called playbooks.
YAML files. Can you give our listeners a quick explanation of what YAML is?
Of course. YAML stands for YAML Ain't Markup Language. It's a human-readable data format that's commonly used for configuration files. YAML uses indentation to represent data structures, making it easy for humans to read and write.
Thank you for clarifying that, Victor. Now, you mentioned playbooks. Can you elaborate on what Ansible playbooks are and how they work?
Certainly. Ansible playbooks are like detailed recipes for your infrastructure. They're YML files that describe a set of steps Ansible should take to configure a system or deploy an application. Each playbook consists of one or more plays, which define a set of tasks to be run on a specific group of machines.
That's a great explanation. It reminds me of a universal remote control for your entire infrastructure. You program it once, and then you can use it to control everything consistently. Would that be an accurate analogy?
That's an excellent analogy, Sheila. Just like a universal remote control, Ansible allows you to control many different types of systems and applications from a single point, ensuring consistency across your infrastructure. And once you've set it up, you can easily reuse and share your configurations.
Now that we understand the basics, let's dive a bit deeper. What are some of the key features of Ansible that make it particularly useful for SRE practices?
Great question. There are several key features that make Ansible stand out. 1. Idempotency. Ansible ensures that running the same playbook multiple times will result in the same state, preventing unintended changes. 2. Modularity. Ansible uses modules to perform specific tasks, making it easy to extend and customize. 3. Inventory management. Ansible can keep track of all the machines you're managing. 4. Role-based organization. You can group related tasks into roles for better organization and reusability. 5. Templating. Ansible uses Ginger 2, templating to create dynamic configurations. To help remember these, you can use the mnemonic IMR reversible T, idempotent modular inventory roles templates.
That's a helpful mnemonic, Victor. I can see how these features would be valuable in SRE practices. Can you give us an example of how Ansible might be used in a real-world SRE scenario?
Absolutely. Let me share an anecdote from a large e-commerce company I worked with. They were struggling with inconsistent configurations across their web servers, which led to frequent outages. We implemented Ansible to manage their server configurations. We created playbooks that defined the exact state each server should be in, including installed packages, configuration files, and security settings. Whenever they needed to deploy a new server or update existing ones, they simply ran the Ansible playbook. This ensured all servers were identical and reduced their outage incidents by 70% in the first month.
Wow, that's impressive. It really shows the power of automation and consistency in SRE practices. Now, I'm curious about how Ansible compares to other similar tools. Are there any alternatives that SREs should be aware of?
Definitely. While Ansible is popular, there are other configuration management and automation tools out there. Two major alternatives are Puppet and Chef. Puppet uses a declarative language to describe system configurations and has a strong focus on enforcing desired states. Chef, on the other hand, uses a procedural approach with Ruby-based recipes. The main difference is that Ansible is generally considered easier to learn and use, especially for those already familiar with YAML and Python. It's also agentless, as we discussed earlier, while Puppet and Chef require agents on managed nodes.
That's a helpful comparison, Victor. It seems like the choice between these tools might depend on the specific needs and skills of the team. Now, as we're nearing the end of our episode, are there any common pitfalls or best practices you'd like to share with our listeners about using Ansible in SRE?
Absolutely, Sheila. One common pitfall is not properly managing secrets in Ansible playbooks. It's crucial to use Ansible Vault or integrate with a secrets management system to keep sensitive information secure. As for best practices, I'd recommend 1. Version control your Ansible code. 2. Use roles to organize and reuse your code. 3. Test your playbooks in a staging environment before applying to production. 4. Use tags to selectively run parts of your playbooks. 5. Regularly update Ansible and its modules to benefit from new features and security fixes. Remember, automation is powerful, but it's important to understand what your playbooks are doing. Always review changes before applying them to critical systems.
Those are excellent tips, Victor. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us today. Now, before we wrap up, let's reveal the answer to our quiz question. What type of animal is Ansible's mascot?
Ah yes, the quiz. I'm excited to hear the answer.
The correct answer is C, an alien. Ansible's mascot is a friendly-looking alien named Ansible. This ties into Ansible's name, which comes from science fiction literature, where an Ansible is a device capable of instantaneous or superluminal communication.
That's fascinating. It's a clever nod to Ansible's ability to manage systems across vast distances almost instantaneously.
Indeed it is. Now let's summarize the main points we've covered today. 1. Ansible is an agentless automation tool that uses YAML for configuration. 2. It contributes to infrastructure as code by allowing you to describe your entire infrastructure in playbooks. 3. Key features include idempotency, modularity, inventory management, role-based organization, and templating. 4. Ansible is widely used in SRE for consistent system configuration and application deployment. 5. While alternatives like Puppet and Chef exist, Ansible is known for its ease of use and agentless architecture. Thank you all for tuning in to today's episode of Site Reliability Engineering Crashcasts. If you found this information helpful, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a rating. Your support helps us continue to provide valuable content for the SRE community. Until next time, keep automating and stay reliable.